Hey everybody, I hope y'all are having a good week. It has been probably a month or so since I posted a gardening video. Today I'm gonna do just like a little impromptu video because I'm out here in the garden. I'm waiting on somebody to come over and take a look at something inside, and it is just kind of nice out. So I want to give y'all an update on some things that are happening in the garden. So here we go. So it is coming along nicely. I'm really happy with these Super Tunia Vistas. They have been performing well and is shaping up like the picture that I had in my head. Isn't that exciting? The temperatures are now in the 80s, and it is getting to be that time here in Southeast Alabama, Zone 8B, where it's pretty humid out and you walk outside and within a few minutes you're sweating. But I have been out here in the garden pretty steadily since the last time I posted a gardening video because I have something pretty exciting to show y'all. But first, let me just give y'all a little pan, kind of a good view of what's happening here in the redbud bed beside my driveway. If you're new here, welcome. What you need to know is that my husband and I live in Dothan, Alabama, and we moved into this house about 7 months ago. And since we moved in, I've been doing quite an overhaul on the landscape here. We live in Southeast Alabama. It is the southeast corner of the state. And anyway, so we have been doing a lot of work, and when I say we, I mean me. He has helped me a good bit, though. I have to give him some credit. He is good about getting out here and helping me when I ask him to. So I call this the redbud bed, obviously, because of this wonderful redbud tree that is right here off of the driveway. And so when we moved in, I took out a hedge of camellias that was where the little lime hydrangeas are right now. And actually the hedge of camellias, it kind of extended all the way down the side here. And in order to make room for my plants, I had to take out this hedge, which I'm really glad I did. Added in a lot of boxwoods, a lot of Miss Lemonabilia, some gray owl juniper. Y'all please excuse all the debris that you see here. We had a big river birch tree that was dying removed. And because I've been doing so much planting, I haven't wanted to lay down mulch, so it's just kind of messy. But 99% of the plants that are in the ground in this redbud bed came from my other house. If you've been following the channel, then you know that already. But I have lots of my favorite plants here in this bed. These are silverberry Super Tunia Vistas that I planted en masse all along the border of the bed. Planted them about a month or so ago, and they are doing great. I have some bloom buds on my variegated hydrangea. More little limes over here under this pine tree. Let's see. Okay. We're gonna go over here. Something happened, you guys, that I absolutely wasn't prepared for and wasn't expecting, and it's good. I'm excited about it. In a previous video where we did the tour of this redbud bed, this was probably a month ago, I was explaining to you guys how I brought over a lot of Japanese maple trees from the other house, young Japanese maple trees. A few that I ordered online, actually. And I had decided to put them in this dappled area that it was actually a natural cove that was created by just the pines and the placement of the pines. So you have an area that's perfect to kind of walk into. And so I had put in about 4 Japanese maples, and I'm going to go in here in a minute and show you. But one Tamukeyama weeping Japanese maple I had placed here in this area between these pines. And by the way, that is my mom and dad's house. We live right next door to my parents in the Highlands neighborhood. Okay, so I had placed a Tamukeyama Japanese maple in this area, and all the rest of the Japanese maple trees that I had brought over, I placed in this little cove area. And I just kind of figured out, you know, it would be better to embrace this area as what it really is, which is a walkthrough between my yard and my parents' yard, and not block it with anything. And killing 2 birds with 1 stone, adding the Tamukeyama to this area of Japanese maples and just making it a Japanese maple garden. So I had the Japanese maples planted over here, and I kept on looking out here, and it was sort of sparse. There wasn't enough structure, and so I just felt like I needed to add some things. Well, some evergreens. So I went out to a local nursery, PC's nursery, and I was walking around in the Boxwood section, and lo and behold, he had 5 or 6 hollies at a deep discount. Hollies that normally would cost hundreds of dollars had been marked down. One was $25 and the rest were $50 because they hadn't been sold in a while and because they weren't in perfect form, which that doesn't bother me whatsoever. And so I decided that day to get those hollies, and I did. And so for the last month, I've been out here in the Japanese maple area, and it has turned into a Japanese garden. And so let me show you guys kind of what has developed, and I am really, really excited. The hollies that I've used are robin hollies, which this is a robin holly, okay, and I love its red berries. I think it's so cute. Never had a robin holly before, but it was on sale. There's some Francis Mason Abelia that I have used in front of this robin holly to be a welcome into this area. And I went to Home Depot last week, and I just got some bricks because I wanted to see what it would look like with a little bit of hardscape, and I wanted to kind of try to recreate what I had back at the other house, except this time I'm gonna have a lot more space. So I see a hardscaping of this area in the future. Now I have some Everillo Carex grass that I chopped off, but it is very quickly growing back. A boxwood here that was $35 and way overgrown, and so of course I put it in the truck, and I'm gonna give it a happy home here. I chopped it, gave it a big haircut, and it is starting to come back. I hope y'all are enjoying this little garden tour because I have been so excited to show y'all this. Okay, so there's some really decent foliage growing on the inside here. Okay, this holly, you can see that it is sort of sparse in the middle. It's not in that tight, perfect form like a lot of people like, but it was $25. I'm so proud of that. So I've done this area kind of on a dime, except there have been some pieces like this cone-shaped boxwood and another cone-shaped boxwood that I was willing to spend a little bit more money on, simply because a cone-shaped boxwood, it just adds instant impact in a space and immediately brings in that cottage appeal that I like so much. There's a little Duranta gold mound that I chopped back. Okay, another thing that I'm really proud of that I got at PC's was this Cryptomeria Japonica and that Cryptomeria Japonica, as well as two more, for $10. $10 each. They were in the clearance section. And so they were just sitting there, languishing. And so I decided to give them a forever home. This is another one of my little prize plants. It's called a Blue Wonder Spruce, and I ordered it online probably a year and a half ago. It's still tiny, but look at the blue foliage, y'all. I mean, it's like not even as bright now as it was a few weeks ago, but it's like vivid. So pretty. It'll get about 5 feet tall and probably 3 feet wide. So it's petite, and it's gonna go well here in this. It's rather a small space, but it's a lot bigger than what I had. And then here are three of my favorite plants. I think they are so adorable. Heucherella actually is what this is, and it's buttered rum. And it's a good shade plant. Let's see. It says part sun to shade. Okay, yeah, and it sends up some blooms as well, but I love it for the foliage. And I left some Heucherella over at the other house. The undersides of the leaves are just as pretty, if not prettier to me, than the top. Okay, and then I was at Lowe's the other day and I saw these. I think they may have been about $7 a piece. And it was one of those moments where you're not planning on getting a plant like this, but you see it and you just get excited, and I just knew that it would work well in this garden. So this is blush Nandina, and it's only gonna grow 2 feet tall. It's a dwarf Nandina. And so I put a little drift of 3 right here. Okay, as well as hollies, I have used a couple of Japanese yew as my structure here in this Japanese garden. I didn't plan on having lots of Japanese plants in this garden, but it's worked out that way, and it's kind of exciting. And then here are some Florida Sunshine, Anise, Elysium, another Francis Mason, and something else that I am so excited about over here. It's perfect for oak leaf hydrangeas, so I've planted a mass of oak leaf hydrangeas here to be the backdrop. These are Sim Beauty, SEMMES. They get either 8 feet tall and wide or about 5 feet tall and wide, because I've seen tags that say both for the same plant. But here in the southeast, things grow sometimes a lot bigger just because we have a long growing season. So I'm expecting these to fill in and just be amazing in a few years. Here's a little more Carex. Japanese Japanese utopiary. Okay. Now, I've planted right up to the border of where the golf course begins. I mean, I laid out a water hose and literally just planted right up to the water hose. And we have some Obsession Nandina. We have some Gulfstream Nandina. See, the Obsession has this gorgeous red foliage, and let's see, it is gonna get 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. It needs part shade, so that's perfect for this area. This is west facing, but we have so many pines that it gets dappled shade all throughout the day. See, so it's just great for these shade plants. Now, let me tell y'all about the Japanese maples. This is an orange flame. In the fall, the leaves are going to turn a bright orange color. And I expected to get about 15 feet tall and wide. So I have it right here kind of on the border of the golf course, back planted with Nandina. In the corner here, it's right about at the border of my property and my parents' property. So I've got this huge boxwood that's in a cone shape that I got at a deep discount because it had just been sitting in the Boxwood area at PC's nursery for who knows how long, and he gave me a huge discount on it. And then I've got a Japanese yew and a nice boxwood planted kind of in this corner here for some evergreen interest in the winter, because you know the oak leaf hydrangeas are going to lose their leaves, as well as my Japanese maples. So it was really important to me to have evergreens. This right here is a little weeping Orangeola. It's gonna be at maturity probably 8 feet tall and wide, something around there. So you can imagine this area will be, in a few years, the Japanese maples are gonna grow pretty close together. And I finally got these plants in the ground, soft caress mahonia, that had been sitting in containers for probably about 6 months. And I didn't get them in the ground until a few weeks ago, gave them a good fertilize, and now they're putting on some really nice new growth. This one had turned really yellow, and so now it's really perking up. See all this new growth? It's just doing really, really well here. Some more oak leaves that'll fill in by the border of the golf course, and then another Blue Wonder spruce. So let me talk to y'all about this real quick. I did not want to obscure the view of the golf course. When I started thinking about planting in this landscape, that was one thing I knew early on, was that I really wanted to have views of the golf course. And also Ryan, being a big golfer, he didn't want me to obscure the golf course either. But I'm coming from a cottage garden that had a privacy fence, and my dream for that garden was to have not even be able to see the fence, but have green foliage all around. And so I kind of needed a spot that I could go into and feel enclosed just for a little bit, because you know, it just feels nice to be able to feel like you have some kind of privacy. But what I've tried to do is only plant things near the pines where there's already an obstructed view because of the pines. So I've tried to use the natural landscape, you know, kind of as a guide. And then also in some parts of the year it will be obstructed, like here with these oak leaf hydrangeas that are gonna get big and obviously obstruct this particular part. But some parts of the year we will have a much better view of the course. So I think it's the best of both worlds. Some more Carex Everillo. And then this here is a Bloodgood Japanese maple, and it's gonna get 15 to 20 feet tall and wide, I think. And so I was careful when I planted to just make sure that I had enough airspace for how big these canopies are gonna get. And that's my Japanese magnolia tree there. Okay, now you see that here I have a cone-shaped boxwood. This is the second cone-shaped boxwood that I bought for this space, and I just think it is so sweet and so cottagey. And I've laughed and kind of said, you can take the girl out of the cottage, but you can't take the cottage out of the girl. So it's just funny because I started planting this area, and I just felt so happy because it's come together, and it's got that cottagey feel that I love so much. And also, okay, so here's my little pathway that goes between these two pines. This is a new thing because as I was planting, I did not intend on having a walk-through area, but I kind of was thinking about it, and I wanted the garden to flow, and I didn't want to feel like you came in this area and there was just a wall where you couldn't access the other part of the garden. And so this just became the perfect spot to put these stones and have a little walk-through. And so I have a really pretty blue hosta that came with me from the other house. And I have it next to this abelia. And it may be a kaleidoscope, but look at how pretty. The leaf of the hosta really matches in color to the interior color of that abelia, which is so fun. And then these are 3 little Wolverine hostas that I found at Home Depot. Just popped them in there. And then some Virginia creeper, of course, which is everywhere around here. This is an oak leaf. Planted a little oak leaf hydrangea right there, which I think I'm gonna move. It's really gonna get bigger than this space is gonna allow. So I've got just about everything planted. There were a lot of containers over here for weeks, and so that was kind of why I didn't want to do a video right away, because I wanted to get it kind of pretty before I showed y'all. And to kind of be the entry plants, I put some azaleas, some Encore Azaleas wrapped around this pine tree and the pine tree over there at the other side of the entry. And these right here are autumn carnation. And that's a twist of lime abelia, which is gonna be moved into the spot where that little oak leaf is. So it's always a work in progress, as y'all know. Okay, I have 3 autumn carnations. One, I think that's an autumn empress. It's different because I just needed a spot to put it, and it needed sun, so I just stuck it here. And it's got smaller leaves, but it's got a cherry pink bloom, and then these are more bubblegum pink. Let me see. Bubblegum pink. And then over here, the 3 azaleas I've used are the Autumn Twist variety. Their bloom is multicolored, so that's fun. It's pink, and then on the inside, it's, I can't remember if it's a darker pink or a white. But anyway, it's really cute. So this is all still coming together because I might move a few things here and there, but I love it. It's just a Japanese maple garden with some oak leaf hydrangeas as a backdrop and lots of pops of chartreuse, lots of boxwoods, a lot of young plants. So y'all stick with me so that y'all can see them as they grow, because I'm really, really excited about the future. And it's been nice in the afternoons, like around 5 o'clock, 5:30. It gets back in the 70s and it's breezy. And I've been sitting out here after I get done doing my garden work, and I've been just really able to enjoy the garden. Here we get great breezes. So, you know, I started out feeling like, what in the world am I gonna do? This is a huge undertaking, but slowly but surely it's really been coming together, and I'm so happy. And we've had a lot of birds that have enjoyed this little bird bath, and so I love to watch that. Let me show y'all one last thing and then I'll wrap up the video. I've also taken into account the view from the golf course, and so I have planted some variegated Aztec grass at 45-degree angles. There you can see the water hose underneath this Japanese magnolia, and then some azaleas, Encore Azaleas, with some Francis Mason abelia. Actually, there's one Francis Mason, and it looks like there's two kaleidoscopes. So, but they have similar colors. And then the Aztec grass in front. Let me back up. So I'm really happy. I feel like things are coming together. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope that y'all like the progress. And I'll be posting another video. So y'all just be watching for it. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you for watching. Bye.